Reports of fresh shelling in Melitopol as residents and soldiers in liberated Kherson reflect on Russia's occupation.
Serbian and Kosovan leaders are expected in Brussels today to find a solution with the car registration crisis as tensions increase.
Russian-occupied Melitopol in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region is the latest district to come under attack. According to Mayor Ivan Fedorov, 3 explosions were heard in the village of Vezele. This comes as Nikopol on the banks of the Dnipro River was also hit by Russian shelling overnight.
The toughest fighting is still taking place in the Donetsk region. Although there are fewer attacks these days due to the cold weather, the number of Russian attacks remain, unfortunately, extremely high. In the Luhansk region, we are moving gradually and we are fighting. As of now, there have been almost 400 attacks in the east since the beginning of Sunday.
Meanwhile, in liberated Kherson, villages are now flying the Ukrainian flag among the ruins. Most of Alexandrovka's residents, a settlement some 40 kilometres west of Kherson, have fled. Abandoned tanks and debris litter this residential area.
The Ukrainians didn't kill us. They were killing the Russians who were hiding in the houses. Here and there. The Ukrainians had drones. They spotted them and bombed them.
Defending soldiers are now faced with the dangerous task of demining the streets and surrounding fields after Kyiv's forces destroyed Moscow's supply chain and cut off Putin's troops. Ukrainian special forces say the main bridges were destroyed. Russian troops were said to be without food and new equipment before they moved out.
It's also strange because we have a really hard fight in the village around Kherson. Much people dies, with much losing techniques, tanks, and every small pieces of land we take with really powerful using.
Ukraine soldiers say if Russia stops fighting, the war will stop. However, despite their gains, they say that if they relax their counter-offensive now, there will be no more Ukraine. That is why they will not give up.
The European Union has called for an emergency meeting between Serbia and Kosovo in Brussels today to find a solution on the car registration crisis. Tensions have increased since the start of implementing the plans to register Serbian number plates in Kosovo at the beginning of the month. It's part of a gradual move to ban Serbian number plates in Kosovo totally by April next year. And now drivers could be fined. Brussels has tried to decrease tensions between the two countries, fearing an escalation in ethnic violence. One of the requirements to become fully signed-up EU members is to resolve bilateral issues.
Delegates attending the COP27 climate summit are heading home with mixed feelings about what was achieved in Egypt. A landmark deal was reached to set up a loss and damage fund, but there was no additional progress on efforts to limit global emissions. A weary COP president lauded the fund, bringing the summit, which overran by 2 days, to a close.
My friends, we heard the calls and we responded. Today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, we established the first ever dedicated fund for loss and damage, a fund that has been so long in the making.
Richer nations will pay those vulnerable to climatic disasters due to global warming for damage and economic losses. But there have been no new pledges reducing fossil fuels, and the inclusion of so-called low-emissions energy has raised fears that some fuels, such as natural gas, could be considered green.
But we also wanted to take definitive steps forward. We joined with many parties to propose a number of measures that would have contributed to this. Emissions peaking before 2025, as the science tells us, is necessary. Not in this text. Clear follow-through on the phase-down of coal. Not in this text. A clear commitment to phase out all fossil fuels. Not in this text. And the energy text weakened in the final minutes.
At the end of COP27, climate experts warn the world still stands on the brink of climate catastrophe, and cutting greenhouse gas emissions remains the only answer.
Residents of Equatorial Guinea are voting in presidential and parliamentary polls. The world's longest-serving president, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasago, is seeking re-election at the age of 80. After 43 years of power, he has a strong grip on the oil-rich nation, with family members in key government roles. Observers consider the elections as merely cosmetic. Continuous rain in western Albania has flooded hundreds of hectares of land, temporarily cutting power supplies to some areas and forcing families to evacuate. A car with 3 people in it was reported missing on Sunday after being caught in fast-running waters, as well as a 50-year-old man and his son. Emergency services and the army are on alert as rain is expected to continue Monday. The countdown to Christmas has begun, with the festive light displays being launched in cities across Europe. Paris is among them, but this year the French capital will go dark hours earlier than usual due to the energy crisis. Further energy-saving measures include ditching seasonal ice rinks for roller skating and a general scaling back with illuminations. An encyclopedia for 3 worlds, believed to be the first ever multilingual encyclopedia, is currently helping Ukrainian children to integrate fully into the Italian school system. It has 8 volumes and each entry is presented in Italian, English and Ukrainian. It's intended for primary school children, but its main aim is to help Ukrainian pupils feel fully accepted in the classroom with their new classmates and teachers. The idea was born from a concrete need. We asked ourselves how, in our small way, we could give our contribution to the school, education and cultural integration of the newcomers, of the Ukrainian children who came to Italy and Europe. It has hundreds of topics conveyed to children of different origins through not only books but also interactive content, audiobooks, smartphones and multimedia interactive blackboards. For instance, we started from the solar system, analysing what the sun is, and this is written in Italian, English and Ukrainian. We've talked about it and then we used the book to study the eclipses. It is in places like this that the concept of integration turns into something real and concrete. In this primary school in Bologna, Ukrainian children have the chance to keep using their language to study and learn, thanks to a simple but brilliant idea. We tend to think of school as a community, a teaching community and a community of practices. In our daily life there are no differences and you cannot see differences. The project is also looking out for the needs of all children in the classroom. No child should be left behind. We've also taken into consideration all the potential needs within a classroom. We get concerned about those children who might suffer from learning disorders. Therefore, we printed it with a specific large font. All over Italy, dozens of schools and about 500 public libraries have adopted the Trilingual encyclopedia. Integration and inclusion go through precious tools like this one.
The England team will begin their quest towards World Cup glory on Monday. The 3 Lions will take on Iran in their opening game at the Khalifa Stadium. Manager Gareth Southgate has confirmed that the squad will take the knee before kick-off, an anti-racism gesture the team have practiced since the death of George Floyd in 2020. England's captain Harry Kane was planning on wearing a One Love armband, but due to threats of fines by FIFA, the English, Welsh and 7 other teams dropped the plans. It's another blow to promoters for diversity and inclusion. Meanwhile, rivals Iran are competing on the biggest global stage for the 3rd time in a row. In other games in Group B, Wales are about to make their first appearance at a World Cup final in 64 years when they face the US later today. In Group A, the Netherlands will take on Africa's highest-ranking team, Senegal, at their opening clash. Euronews reporter Sam Ashu has more.
The other match in Group A sees Senegal take on the Netherlands, and it's a Senegal side who'll be without Sadio Mane, who played such a key role in their African Cup of Nations win earlier this year. Instead, the manager Aliou Cisse will be relying on Ismail Assar as his side's main attacking threat. As for the Netherlands, well, they're back in sport's biggest competition, having missed out 4 years ago. In fact, they're arguably the biggest side never to have lifted the FIFA World Cup trophy. These two sides are favourites to progress to the knockout stages. This particular match could have a huge say on who wins Group A. Sam Ashu for Euronews in Doha.